Okay, so you've got your Oscar ballot and you see costume design. What does that mean? How do you make your choice? Well, we have 4 costume designers from the Academy here today who are going to help you out with that. So let's get right into it. What makes great costume design and how do you judge it?
The fact of the matter is it isn't so much about the clothes. That people look at movies and they see clothes. They're not seeing what the costume designer does. The costume designer creates a story through a visual process called costume design. It should be telling the story just like the words are telling the story. That's what we are there to do.
It's layers upon layers of characterization, history, economic level, who they are, and we're trying to help that story move forward by telling the story with the clothes.
Yeah.
If you love to see movies, the costumes are as big of a part of telling that story as the script, as the act. I mean, I like to think of it as that we're all equal parts.
You're absolutely right, and the fact of the matter is costumes, along with the actor, take up the foreground of every film. When you watch a film, in the foreground, who's there? The actor. And what's that actor wearing? The costume. So that's what you're going to be seeing. We are the foreground.
I think the most important thing when a layperson is looking at a film and what they think of the best of the costume design is the fact that they just got into the character, they felt enhanced by the story, that they almost didn't even notice the costumes is kind of the best costume design you can have. If it feels intrinsic to the story, if they got the clues, if it moved along, if it was interesting visually, that's kind of what the best.
But also theatricality is noteworthy, and
is.
something.
All films are
I love
different,
stylized films, and I can enjoy a film where, you know, you can notice a costume in a film and note it and have it impact you.
It doesn't have to be the biggest budget, the most clothes. Is what we're trying to say. There's just so many different levels, and if you can get that feeling from a small film, from a very simple contemporary clothes, then that's the best costume.
It's an intelligence and a thoughtfulness by the designer. I think it's really our job to elevate the story and as well as inform it. And I think when you see that, you know it. At least for me, when I see it, I know it, and it resonates.
And it probably, for people who are not filmmakers but who enjoy movies, they feel it on an internal level, like they respond by liking the movie, and chances are it's because the costumes were good.
And the
what
character.
surprised you? What made you smile? What moved you? And you can ask these questions when you're looking at the costumes as well, because they're part of the character. What costumes informed you the most about that character that helped you figure out what the story was about?
When you were watching the movie, did you know who that guy was? If you knew who that guy was, it's the script, it's the costume, it's the hair.
the actor,
But
and
there
the
are kind of
story.
ingenious ways that costume designers fold things in. I mean, here's a perfect example. Gone with the Wind was done in 1939. That dress, the curtain dress, it's one of the most memorable moments in film. When Scarlett shows up at the door at Melanie's house in that scarlet dress. It makes you know she's the Scarlet Woman. Those things are what costume designers can do.
So when you guys look at work in a film and you look at the costume design, give us 3 things that you look for to decide if it is good, great, or extraordinary.
I'm always looking for a magic moment that tells me something special about that character that goes beyond beyond what we would expect.
It doesn't have to be a period film, or it could be a contemporary movie, but I think what has ended up happening with the Academy and with just a lot of people in general, you automatically think the best costume design is with the earliest time period or the older time period, but oftentimes there's a contemporary movie that I have that very similar transcendental moment where it's like, wow, you're just knocked out, and it all just comes together in a perfectly fitted
And it's not also the most popular movies either. There's some wonderful, wonderful small films that there's incredible work that get lost along the way.
You can't really judge. I mean, you have an opinion, but if you really looked at all of it, nothing is really possible to fairly judge because it's just too much of it. But you do the best you can, and you give it as much attention as you possibly can. And you go from there, so.
You do your best you can, just like Scarlett with her dress.
Yes, you do the best you can, exactly. That's right.
Well, terrific. Well, now that you know a little more about costume design, maybe you're ready to make your picks. Go to Oscar.com, fill out your My Picks ballot, and share with your friends.